One of the things I'm most, beloved for as a professor is the combination of life lessons combined with the puns that I tell, or as they refer to them, dad jokes. I always tell them I'm not a dad, so they can't be dad jokes. They're just bad puns. It's one of the reasons why I advocate for and believe in team sports, especially for boys, but also for all children, because of the life lessons taught and the puns I get to share. Some of the sports I like to use include the following. I love racquetball because it teaches us that even if you have to work inside the box, it's about finding the right angle in order to win. I like tennis and volleyball because they teach us that in order to win, we first must serve. I like soccer and hockey because they teach us that the importance of focusing our team efforts on the goal and about defending our positions. And so sports teach us, if they're done correctly, a series of life lessons that are important. Oh, baseball. Baseball teaches us that in order to win, we must bring those we care about back home. You like those? They're all bad. But they're all important life lessons. And there are other ones in sports I don't want to get into, especially team sports, less so with the individual ones, but where you have people competing against each other directly, not like swimming and stuff, but gymnastics where you're not competing directly against each other, where there's something about a philosophical lesson for life as well as the personal individual advancement that comes from engaging yourself regularly and actively in a sport effort. So I don't do a lot of team sports because team sports require you to have a team, and I don't have enough friends to put together a team. So the things I usually do are things that I can do alone. So racquetball works really well because you don't have to have a partner in order to have a good workout. You can go in the room and you can use the angles to still achieve the goal that you want by working out alone in a room. I go running every morning, not because I like running, but because running is a very efficient way to get up to your target heart rate very quickly, cover some ground, get outside, get some fresh air, and start the day off on the right foot. So there are things that I like to do because they are rewarding to me. I like to hike because I believe that in order for us to really have fulfillment, we must rise above the world and we must seek new heights. And we have to, uh, there's probably other ones, but those are the only ones that come to mind right now because I'm just kind of doing this on the fly. But these kinds of physical activities are good for us, not just for the betterment of our bodies, because you're better off healthy. You're better off if you have good cardiovascular fitness. You're better off if you are exercising regularly and trying to burn off the bagels and the beef that you have consumed recently. But they're also important for if you have the right mind to it and if you have the right leaders who are guiding your engagement in the sport, that you can learn things not only about the sport itself or yourself, but about the bigger world as a whole. Unfortunately, what we see too much of in sports is an obsession with victory, because it's easy to measure certain achievements and difficult to measure others. There's more glory in being the best than having a personal best. And I don't believe in giving people participation trophies. I believe in drawing attention to improvement, but I don't give everyone an A, because if everyone has an A, then what does an A mean? If everyone is special, syndrome taught us no one will be. And so there has to be some sort of a stratification. But if we do have other people who are working on the philosophical parts of team endeavors, then there are other lessons to be learned. So let me tell you just one last story. So I played soccer for years, and early on, we had a team. I think it was the very first year I wasn't on the leftover team, because of course when you start any sport, you're not typically very good at it. And I didn't start from the age of 4. And so I got kind of a late start to soccer, and there were people who were much better at it than I was. So in the first year where I wasn't on we're playing for fun and you're the team everyone's going to beat anyway, we had a perfect season. We lost every game. And it was kind of frustrating for me because I was the goalie and I got blamed for their losses. But it taught me um, how to respond to criticism because I explained, as I realized this, I don't know, like 12, that the goalie cannot win a game. The goalie can only stop us from losing. And in order for a soccer team to win or a hockey team to win, the people who are not in the goal have to score. So a lot of times in life, we put the blame in the wrong place. We put it where it's easy, where it's visual, because when a goalie misses a goal, it's very obvious. There's an immediate measurement, and there's something that's directly linkable to the current circumstance. But the ultimate outcome may not depend on that one individual's input. Because as I said, the best I can do is we don't lose. So a really good goalie, if the forwards suck, forward strikers, whatever you want to call them, if they suck, the best he can do is 0-0. The goalie can't win the game because it's very unlikely that the goalie's going to kick the ball and it's going to go all the way down to the other goal without being stopped from one end to the other. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? The asymptote is so close to 0, I don't think it has ever happened. It happens sometimes in hockey, but that's because the ice makes it more likely than on a soccer pitch. But if you don't score, the best I can do is 0-0. The goalie doesn't score. The goalie can't leave the box. They can pull a goalie in hockey. I guess they can probably do it in soccer too. But the goalie still isn't the one who scores. They put a different man on the team, and then that person helps to score. So the goalie never wins the game. The goalie gets blamed if the game is lost. But is the goalie at fault? No. You're at fault because you didn't score. So I lost a lot of my love for team sports because I would get blamed for things that ignored the fact that other people had failed. A team is not a single individual. There's not just a goalie on a soccer pitch and the two goalies go at it from one end to the other. There's a whole bunch of other people on the team who like to ladle blame on the one person that's an easy target. Life works like that. Humans do that. They pick an easy target and they label everything and ladle everything onto that individual in order to escape personal responsibility or to draw attention away from their own personal shortcomings. So I lost a lot of my interest in team sports because the positions I played were not the winning positions. I wasn't really in the right physical shape in order to be a successful striker because I do a lot of running. And at the age of 12, I wasn't running a 5K every day for the hell of it. And so running to me was not really the appeal, but I liked to play and I liked to be involved. And the goalie, and I was a pretty damn good goalie, but if we lost 1-0, you lost the game. Technically, yes, but not maliciously and not actually, because the best I can do is we don't lose. So we have people who do this in life who will draw attention away from their shortcomings and put them onto someone else, where while that is true, it is not the entire truth, nor is it particularly the truth that actually matters. Because as good as the goalie is, if your team never scores, you cannot win, even with the very best goalie ever. So you're the ones at fault. And so I grew tired of a world where other people made their shortcomings my responsibility and where their shortcomings were blamed on me. And as long as we have a world where that's the case, we're going to continue to not advance towards our goals because we're going to find that the people on whom we rely not to lose will abandon their positions. And then it doesn't serve anybody. And nobody gets home in a good manner. And we can't take advantage of any of the angles in order to leverage our options because the people on whom the success of a group is anchored will then refuse to play. If you play in a circumstance where the rules are always to change in a way that only benefits you and that only hurts other people, be prepared for other people to stop playing with you. We have this change happening in the world where people are not taking responsibility and not taking ownership of their shortcomings and their mistakes. They're blaming them on society or their parents or drugs or, I don't know, the market. job losses, the president, Iran, whatever you want to blame it on, instead of taking the appropriate measure of personal responsibility. Did I lose those games as the goalie? Yes. Every goal I let through made it more likely for us to lose. Am I the only reason why we lost? Absolutely not. And so, if you refuse to accept the role and responsibility that you play in the failures of your own life, country, society, or outcomes, eventually you're going to find yourself on a team that cannot win. And that's where we're headed as a society. There's nobody wants to take the blame. Nobody wants to take responsibility. Everyone thinks it's someone else's responsibility to pick up where they left off and to compensate for their shortcomings. We see it in relationships. We see it in governments. We see it in neighborhoods. This isn't mine. I didn't drop this litter. Why should I have to pick it up? I didn't create the mess. Why do I have to clean it up? I didn't make them sick. Why do I have to cover for them while they're out? And I get it. Eventually people, like I did, become tired of being abused and tired of being blamed and lambasted, and they go do something else with their life. That's actually how I left sports, is I got tired of never getting credit, but always getting blamed. So I'll say this here. I've said it on my blog before. In our modern world, the blame and the credit are almost always unjustly ascribed everywhere except for where they actually belong. Okay. Was there some fault of mine in that game that we lost? Yes. Am I the only one that was at fault? No. Were those people blamed? No. So I stopped playing. I have no idea what happened to the team. I'm sure they were fine because they didn't quit. Because as soon as you quit, you stop advancing. Except for eventually people get tired of being the whipping boy. And when we run out of whipping boys, we're hosed. So if you're one of the people who is whipping other people for your mistakes, you're not the solution. You're the problem. And, of course, those people probably won't hear this. And if they do, they'll be like, yeah, that definitely applies to that other person I know. And, again, avoid personal responsibility. I know I'm flawed. I can see them when I look in the mirror. I can see them when I step on a scale. I can see them when I look through pictures. I can see them when I talk to people. I can see them just in the video quality of this video. I am aware that I am flawed. I do not pretend to be perfect. I am hoping that you will learn from my imperfections to become wiser than I. Godspeed. Good luck.